Good day, welcome to your news at noon on Kaieteur Radio. I'm Kevin Smith, and in your headlines today, ExxonMobil will deduct over $220 million by 2024 for works to be done 20 years in the future, according to financial analyst Tom Sanzillo. And Guyana's failure to repay loans on infrastructure projects will result in a severe debt crisis, according to a former diplomat. And in the disastrous Peru oil spill, Peru orders company to stop mixing contaminated and clean sand as cleaning method. PSC will be unable to scrutinize government spending before elections. Slow pace of work and quorum change a disservice to citizens, according to the PSC chairman. Big Oil board members refuse to participate in climate change hearing, despite being among biggest polluters of the world. Meanwhile, CHNPA to oversee infrastructural works in new housing areas to the tune of $1.6 billion. Stay tuned to stay informed.
Nothing in life is free, but the MyDigiCell app is. You don't need to be on a data plan to use the app. You can conveniently chat with Ruby or an agent for help. Check your account balance, activate a Prime bundle, or gift it to a friend. Send credit. Check the Georgetown and Burpees Bridge schedules. Activate a roaming plan. Play Shake to Win for cool prizes. So don't worry about a data plan, buddy. Download the MyDigiCell app from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store today. Digicel, better together.
And now for the news in detail. By the end of 2024, 2 years from now, ExxonMobil Guyana would have already recovered some $227 million for works to be executed 20 years into the future. These monies, which would be deducted in portions annually, are associated with the abandonment or decommissioning of its wells for the Liza Phase 1 project. Such costs are allowed to be recovered by the operator, ESSO, as per arrangements in the 2016 Starbuck Block Production Sharing Agreement. This notable payment schedule is documented in a report authored and produced by Director of Financial Analysis for the Institute for Energy Economics and Financial Analysis, Tom Sanzillo. According to his analysis, even before 2020, ESSO had already deducted $1 million, and that was raised to $16 million by the end of that year. In 2024, ESSO will deduct from oil sold from the Starbuck block up to $95 million for a total of $227 million to be deducted as amortized abandonment cost, that is, works to be undertaken some 20 years in the future at the projected end of the lifespan of the Liza 1 oil field. And with myriad multi-million-dollar projects slated to shortly come on stream, a former diplomat, Professor Dr. Shamir Ali, has warned that Guyana's failure to pay back on loans borrowed to facilitate these projects can land the country in a severe debt crisis, similar to the prevailing situation in Sri Lanka. Professor Ali, who formerly served as Guyana's second ambassador to Kuwait and Guyana's first alternate governor at the Islamic Development Bank, pointed out that while infrastructure development is key to a country's progress, it is equally important for the country to manage its debts. More importantly, he pointed to the importance of feasibility studies being conducted to ensure the viability of huge planned projects. Several infrastructural projects are lined up that could cost billions, even though the returns remain questionable. For instance, the government is forging ahead with its gas-to-energy project, pegged at some $1.3 billion. And now let's tell you, on May 3rd, 2017, just 3 months into his tenure as U.S. Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson had cited that Americans should be vigilant not to let values like human rights create quote-unquote obstacles to the pursuit of its interests. Tillerson served as the 6th to 9th U.S. Secretary of State from February 1st, 2017 to March 31st, 2018 under President Donald Trump, and is also the former CEO of ExxonMobil Corporation. Following Tillerson's remarks, the Brookings, an American research group, had reported that while speaking about values as an enduring guide to U.S. foreign policy, Tillerson made it crystal clear that when it comes to actual policies, national security and economic interests comes first. And now let's tell you, the government of Peru has ordered Spanish oil giant Repsol to stop mixing sand impregnated with crude oil with clean sand in the subpartal zone of the San Gaspar beach in Lima, Peru, and at other beaches as a cleaning method. The order came as a result of the continuous environmental supervision actions by Peru's Environmental Assessment and Control Agency for the cleaning actions that Repsol's La Pampilla refinery has been carrying out. According to Peruvian reports, the administrative measures issued by the Environmental Control Authority are mandatory for the oil company, and non-compliance with the measures may result in the imposition of coercive fines of up to $123,208 for each measure consecutively until verifying compliance. Peru reiterated that it will continue to issue additional administrative measures on the oil giant when potential risks that cause damage to the environment or the people's health are evidenced or determined. And moving on, Chairman of the Parliamentary Public Accounts Committee, German Figuera, is convinced that citizens are receiving a disservice now that a stronger possibility exists for further stymieing the work of the PSC. The PSC's quorum was recently changed from 3 persons to 5 and has specific rules as to who must be present from both the government and opposition sides of the House to make any meeting of the PSC a valid one. Figuera believes that given the slow pace of the committee's work and now this new requirement, the oversight body will be unable to scrutinize the government's spending before the holding of the next general elections. Figuera, in fact, believes that it is the deliberate intention of the government to prevent these checks of its spending for this period in office. By further slowing down the work of the committee, it would be highly unlikely that scrutiny of the government spending would occur before the next election. The PSC chairman explained that the current situation is very frustrating because while the opposition would like to get on with the work of the people, there is not much that could be done to force the attendance of any member. He noted that even if a motion is brought to the Assembly to undo the PSC change, it will more than likely be voted against by the government, as has happened in other matters. You're listening to Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. This is your news at noon. We will resume after the break.
Celebrate Easter with Digicel. Enjoy up to 50% discounts on selected smartphones in the month of April. Plus, get a free 30-day Prime bundle included with your purchase. Get the DL3 Pro for only $9,750 or the Samsung A035 with a free case and screen protector for just $32,000. Plus, enjoy a free 30-day Prime bundle with the best premium content on the go. Offer good while stocks last. Visit a Digicel store today. For even more details and discounts and amazing Easter gifts, make sure to check out the My Digicel app. Happy phone shopping and happy Easter from Digicel. Better together.
This is GHK Lal inviting you to join me weekdays from Monday to Friday on the National Outlook for commentary on a range of issues. Immediately after the 12 noon and 7 p.m. newscasts on Kaieteur Radio at 99.1 FM and 99.5 FM. Looking forward to you sharing in the conversation.
Welcome back. Let us continue with the news. Executives of major oil companies have refused to submit themselves to a U.S. House oversight panel on climate change, despite them being among some of the world's largest environmental polluters. The executives have declined the invitation of the Oversight and Reform Committee to answer questions relating to their company's climate change pledges and their roles in disseminating disinformation, that should be misinformation, regarding the effects of global warming. A report from the U.S. Oversight and Reform Committee highlighted that despite letters inviting the executives to the imported climate change meetings and possibilities of them being subpoenaed to provide certain information, big oil executives have refused to take part. 6 of the major oil players have nonetheless accepted the invitation of another oversight committee, this time to discuss the high fuel prices in the American market, while rejecting also another invitation to appear before the House's Natural Resources panel. And moving on, following the allocations of house lots in Regions 2, 4, 9, and 10 last year, the Ministry of Housing and Water, through the Central Housing and Planning Authority, is planning to spend some $1.6 billion in infrastructural development works in those new housing areas this year. This was revealed during the weekly opening of tenders on Wednesday at the NPTAP office, where projects were opened for infrastructural works in areas such as Amelius Ward, Linden, Golden Grove, and Diamond on the east bank of Demerara, Letham, and Charity. From this year's budget, Senior Minister within the Office of the President with responsibility for finance, Dr. Ashni Singh, had announced that the sum of $12.4 billion has been allocated for the ministry to continue infrastructure works in the housing areas. In other news, in January 2022, the US-based International Republican Institute, or IRI, designed and commissioned a national public opinion poll through its Strengthening Democracy Through Polling Data and Peace-Building program. According to IRI, the findings indicate high interest in electoral reforms. 81% feel that such reforms are necessary, 58% think they are very necessary. According to a statement from the IRI, a wide range of actors across government, civil society organizations, indigenous community organizations, trade unions, and the private sector were consulted in developing content for the poll. The data was collected between January 4th and January 24th through CAPI-administered face-to-face interviews in respondents' homes. The sample consisted of 1,500 Guyanese adults ages 18 and above. And I'll just tell you that on Monday, police were able to identify the minor who reportedly drowned last Friday while trying to cross a creek at Obana, Kurubrong, Region 8. The dead man has been identified as 33-year-old Iftikhar Hunif Hussein, called Tarzan, a pork knocker of Britannia Village, West Coast, Berbice. Police reported that the man allegedly drowned in a creek at the Obana Back Dam on Friday between 19 hours and 21 hours. According to reports, the dead man was employed by Leon Lowe, who has a mining operation which is in mere 4 to 5 minutes drive by boat from the Obana landing. On Friday, about 19 hours, Hussein and another man called Black Boy were trying to cross the Cayman Creek on a wood from the back dam to go to the landing when he reportedly drowned. And in other news, trade unionist Michael William is appealing his rape conviction and subsequent life sentences before the Guyana Court of Appeal. The appeal comes 3 years after Williams was found guilty and sentenced for the rape and sodomy of an 8-year-old girl. The trade unionist is being represented by attorneys at law Nigel Hughes and Ronald Daniels. The lawyers are arguing that the High Court erred in putting the evidence upon which Williams was convicted before the jury. More specifically, Daniels contended that the trial judge did not fairly put his client's defense to the jury. Daniels has argued that his client was not the one who had abused the girl. The two persons had guided the complainant to implicate his client to cover up for a 14-year-old boy who had actually committed the act. The Court of Appeal has concluded hearings, arguments into the case and reserved a date to hand down its decision. And now we move on to the page 7 of today's Kaieteur News. President Irfan Ali loves to boast his government's transparency, but it would appear that his understanding of transparency is to merely publish an invitation for bids for some major infrastructural projects to alert the public that development is soon to come. However, when some of these big contracts are signed, it is done behind closed doors, with citizens being privy to precious little information. Especially worrying, too, is the fact that government has locked out the opposition from the Natural Resource Fund Board, which will manage the country's oil money. This begs the question, does the government really care about transparency? And that brings us to the end of today's News at Noon. I'm Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's Newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.